We're going to go ahead and get started. If everybody's cool with that, can I get a yes?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Come on, guys. High energy equals high income. Can I get a yes?
Yes.
All right. We are now 2.5 months from 2025 being complete. I have a question for you guys. How has the real estate market been treating you? And some people say awesome, but here's what's true in my experience, because I have the good fortune of speaking to agents all around the country, independent of what they post on Instagram, and their silly little keys at closing. Agents fit into one of 3 categories. Number 1, 2025 has been exceptionally difficult. Notice the energy in the room? Inventory's been steadily rising across the country, yes? Demand has stayed the same or softened. When that happens, that infuses a lot of friction into transactions. You gotta get better at the price and portion listing presentation, because if you don't, it's not gonna sell. You gotta get price reductions? You mean I can't put in the MLS on Tuesday and it sells on Friday? You gotta get better at negotiating. Those pesky buyers are asking for things in inspections. How dare they? The cost of money is still twice as high as what it was 3 years ago, independent of our silly posts. We went from 6.5 million transactions to 3.9 million. That's persisted for 3 years in a row. We did less transactions in 2024 than we did in 2008. And we're on track this year to do about the same. So that first category of agent, it's been so difficult for them, they have seriously considered a job or they have already gotten one. They are 1 foot out of the business. Second category of agent, for all the reasons that I just described, they were doing 10, 15, 20, 30 deals 3 years ago. They're doing half that today. They are treading water. They're making enough money to pay their bills. They are not making enough money to get ahead. And they are also seriously considering their choice of vocation. I am noticing some heads nodding. Then there's a small category of agents, maybe 5% of agents, that are having record breakout years, making more money, doing more deals. The question is, how is that possible? How can you have the exact same environment, right, to all the 1 million plus real estate agents across the country? 90% of them are barely getting by or 1 foot out of the business, 5% are crushing it. How's that possible? The answer is strategy. Because business is just strategy and people. Every specific environment requires a very specific strategy. That's true in the physical world. It's also true in the economic and the real estate world. So first we're going to talk about it in the physical world because it's a little bit easier to understand. Then we'll pivot over into business world. So let's imagine for a moment that we decide, you know what, we're in Miami, let's all go to the beach together, okay? That is a very specific, unique physical environment. Yes or yes?
Yes.
I'm sorry guys, energy, yes or yes?
Yes.
Okay. And as such, it requires a very specific strategy. So what would be our strategy that we would deploy to ensure that we enjoyed our time at the beach together? What would we bring with us?
Sunscreen.
Sunscreen? Okay, took her answer. Sunscreen, what else? Towels, what else? Somebody said drinks. We know who to hang out with. Okay, what else?
A gun.
Huh?
A gun.
A gun? Okay, interesting. What else? I don't know. We are in Florida. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
We're from Texas.
I got it. So, hey, it's pretty close. What else?
A cooler.
A cooler. Good. Here's what's interesting. We all know this strategy, yes? Anybody besides me ever forget one thing on that strategy and you ended up not enjoying your experience, like sunscreen?
Yeah.
Why? Strategy is very important. And very specific environments require very specific strategies. Now let's imagine for a moment that we decided we wanted to change our environment. We got tired of the beach. And now what we want to do is we want to go skiing. That is a completely different physical environment. Yes or yes?
Yes.
And as such, it requires a different strategy. So how would I need to change my strategy to ensure that we enjoyed our time together while we were skiing? What would we bring with us?
Wool base layers.
Wow. People who ski, they know. Wool base layers. I know nothing about that. I'm from Florida, okay? What else? Heated socks and gloves. What else? Skis. Okay. Chapstick. Visors. Cool. We all know this strategy, yeah? Let me ask you a question. What would happen if we tried to use the strategy for the beach for skiing? Not only is it not going to work, but I need you to be clear on something. You could potentially die of hypothermia. Do you understand? That's how important strategy is. So what I would propose or suggest to you is that if you're in this room and you fit in one of those 2 categories, those initial 2 categories of agents, the reason is because you're deploying strategies that were working in a different environment and you keep trying to use them when the environment has changed. Can we get an amen from the congregation? Amen. Hey, there's a saying that says you will know the truth by the way it feels. You guys felt that. That was true, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do I know that this is true the same way I know the sky is blue and the grass is green? I started selling real estate in 2006. Anybody besides me selling real estate back in 2006? Wow. We got some unks and some aunties in the room. Good for you. Okay. So that was a very specific and unique economic and real estate environment. So let me paint the picture for those of you who don't know. Prices were going up by double digits year over year. 10, 15, 20, 30% in some marketplaces, depending on geographic locations. Everybody had FOMO, fear of missing out, operating under the assumption that real estate always goes up in double digits. That is not true. They were using very interesting mortgage products. They had something called a no-doc loan. Imagine this. I could walk into a financial institution and say, hey, I make $150,000 a year. You know what they would say to me? I believe you. That's crazy. You didn't even have to document it. Okay? I had just graduated from the University of Florida. Go Gators. And I didn't know what to do. And anybody who could fog a mirror was getting a mortgage. So you know what I did? My strategy? I was selling condo conversions. Anybody remember condo conversions? Put a little lipstick on a pig, take a 50-year-old apartment building, put about $5,000, $10,000 in it, put them on the market, sell them. I made $115,000 in my early 20s. I thought I was real estate Superman. I thought I had sufficiently made it. And then the environment changed, rather radically and abruptly. 2008 happens. Anybody saw real estate 2008? Okay. You had your license, good. Okay, that kind of counts. And that environment was the complete opposite. Prices are going down by double digits year over year. All those adjustable rate mortgages adjusted, nobody could afford the payments, everybody dumped them on the markets. We had 22,000 homes for sale in my county. To put that in perspective, what's normal is like 4,000. 50% of everything on the market is a short sale foreclosure. So let me ask my smart, intelligent, beautiful brothers and sisters at EXP, what happened to my amazing strategy of selling condo conversions?
Gone.
It disappeared overnight. And I realized I needed to pivot because if I didn't, I would need a new script. And you know what the new script was? Would you like fries with that, ma'am? I would have to get out of the business. Okay? And I didn't know what the way was. I didn't. I didn't know where the opportunities were. I didn't know what skills I needed to learn in order to take advantage of the opportunities that were available in this new environment. So I did what I always do when I don't know what to do, is I sought out a guide. Somebody who could point out to me, hey, this is the environment that we're in. Because how do we want to respond when things change? We have adult temper tantrum. This isn't fair. I was doing 10 deals in top producer and now I'm not doing any. I had to change. I had to pivot. And this particular guide pointed out to me, hey, here's where the opportunities are. Here's what skills you need to learn in order to take advantage of those opportunities. I was able to take that information, go from 17 transactions to 50 to 79 to 89 to 100. When everything was collapsing around me, I did 0 REOs and 0 foreclosures, okay? So now I am no longer concerned, sincerely, guys, for myself, for any of the agents that I have the good fortune of coaching, or in our growing organization that now is over 16 states that I have the good fortune of being a steward of, in terms of market conditions, in terms of market environments, because I know that in any environment, there is an opportunity that's available and you're one relationship away from finding it. Amen?
Amen.
I'm sorry, amen?
Amen.
Good. And I believe that everybody in this room, if you had a clear pictures to the environment that we're in, without all this fluff, like, you can do it. You know what that's like? That's like sending somebody into battle with a bow and arrow and saying, good luck. Okay? Most people teach mindset because they can't teach tactics. I'm going to say it to you again, not because you didn't hear me, but because it's true. Most people teach mindset because they can't teach tactics. They can't show you how to do something. Okay? So I believe that with the right understanding of the environment, the right understanding of a lead source that's going to be available to you and is going to be plentiful and will be a wonderful source as time progresses, and a clear understanding of the skills that you need to learn in order to get your unfair share of this business, you can do everything that I've done in less time. I've spent the last 17 years of my career selling 2,000 properties, 80% being listings sold. I started a coaching company that was named by Housing Wire in 2025, top coaching companies for agents that want to learn what to say and how to say it. I used to own part of a Keller Williams office. I sold it back 3 years and 5 months ago, and in that time, I've attracted 465 agents to elite builders in 16 states. So what we're going to do for our time together is I'm going to show you, number one, what is happening in the environment that we're in. We're going to look at some data and some stats, okay? Then I'm going to show you this amazing, plentiful, fantastic lead source of probate, why it's going to be a great source moving forward. I'm going to sell you on that, help you to overcome some of those internal beliefs that you need in order to reach out to this source. And I'm going to share with you a few skills so that way you can get your unfair share of this business. Let me ask my wonderful, beautiful, dynamic, smart, intelligent brothers and sisters at EXP, this conversation that we're about to have, legitimately, with no hyperbole, no fluff, has the capacity to literally add to your bottom line $500 or $50,000 to $100,000 in the next 12 months and millions of dollars over the course of your real estate career. Everybody up for that?
Yeah.
Okay. So who is interested in hearing about this environment that we're in, this awesome source of probate, and what you need to do to get your unfair share? Say aye. Aye. Good. Now do your best to maintain that level of energy as time progresses. We need to get a clear picture to the environment. What's actually happening in the real estate environment? And one of the key things you could look at is supply and demand, right? Because that dictates what happens in the environment. These are stats for my market, which is Broward County, 40 minutes north of here. These are reflective of stats all across the country. I know because I look at them on a regular basis. What you can see is happening since 2022 is what? Inventory is doing what? Rising. The other thing that's interesting is that demand, meaning how many homes are selling, is actually being flat. It's maintaining a flat line, right? So I don't care what you're selling, guys, whether it's cars, houses, or boats. If what you're selling goes up, and the amount of people buying it stays the same, what happens to prices? Hey, do you notice how agents, we don't want to say that out loud? Say it out loud. What? You know what's fascinating, guys? When everything was going up like double digits, you would be like, I got $50,000 more than the asking price. Meanwhile, it had nothing to do with you. Now that it's going down, you know what you say? I want nothing to do with that. It's not me. Yeah? But this is what's happening. This is the environment. Okay? Now we have to look at what's happening economically, right? These are people that are buying houses. These four stats show a few things. That first one in the top left-hand corner is what inflation's done since 2019. So no matter what they tell you, okay, what propaganda they tell you that inflation's under control, let me ask you guys a question. Is it? No. All you got to do, bro, I took my kids to go get smoothies the other day. It was $55 for 4 smoothies. No. Tell me inflation's not real.
Wow. It's real.
Right? So that's what consumers are dealing with. The second is we have the highest record of student loan debt that we've ever had, record numbers of car loan debt, and record numbers of credit card debt. And these are called the facts. Now, you know what's interesting? When I say this to people, they're like, well, you're being so negative, Edwin. Can't we have one of those powerful rah-rah meetings that I like? They make me feel better about myself. And then I post, yay, here I am doing my thing, #thriving. When I see that stuff, I want to throw up on the floor because I know what's behind it. What's behind it is you can't pay your bills. What's behind it is you're worrying about money all the time. That's what's behind it. But this is the environment that we're in, okay? Third thing that happened. I don't know if you guys know this. 2 or 3 months ago, something happened that is very important to our business. The United States credit rating for the first time in 100 years was lowered. Anybody know that? Some people, most people didn't. Isn't that interesting that doesn't get a lot of coverage? But like what Kim Kardashian is doing does? Interesting. So how would that affect our business? Let me ask you guys a question. If I'm going to get money and my credit rating goes down, what happens to the interest that I have to pay? I'm sorry? Goes up. So how do you think we fund this glorious experiment called America? You think it's taxes? If you think that's true, I got some swampland here in Miami that I could sell you. Okay? The way that we fund everything is by what? Borrowing money. But do you guys know how we actually do that? We issue bonds. So if we're issuing bonds and our credit rating goes down, what happens to the interest that we have to pay? That affects the 10-year treasury note, which affects interest rates. Did you guys notice that last year, the Fed funds rate was lowered 2 or 3 times? And what did it do to interest rates? Nothing. Independent of my stupid post. They're coming down. Now's the right time to buy. Yes? The last time interest rates were this high, mortgage rates, they stayed that high for a decade. Yep, notice, you see what she did? Bro, it's so funny. I said that, she went like this. You know why? Because all of you are hoping and wishing and praying to the real estate gods that don't come down because it'll make my job so much easier. Let me ask everybody in this room a serious, legit question. My brothers and sisters, okay? Is your lead sources right now in your business, will it allow you to continue to do what you want and grow in an environment where interest rates stay high for 5 more years? Ooh-wee, you feel that in the room? Another issue that's happening in the marketplace is affordability is a legitimate thing. Anybody notice that? Anybody besides me driving around being like, how in the world is anybody buying a house where the average payment's $5-6 grand a month? You're like, how on planet Earth are you doing that? Okay? Well, to get back, this is from Fannie Mae, by the way. So I didn't make this up. Fannie Mae said this, and it was there when I woke up this morning. So to get back to the affordability of 2016 and 2019, one of these three extreme things would have to happen. Number one, prices would have to drop 39%.
Wow.
Number two, household income would have to jump 60% to $134,000 a year.
Wow.
Number three, interest rates would have to drop to 2.35%. Let me ask all my smart, intelligent, beautiful brothers and sisters at EXP, what is the probability that any one of those three things happen in the next 12, 18, 24 months? I'm sorry? 0. So why are you pretending that it will? Why are you acting that way? Makes no sense. The amount of progress that a man or woman experiences is directly correlated to the amount of truth that they can withstand. The amount of progress that a man or woman experiences is directly correlated to the amount of truth that they can withstand. I want everybody in this room to really recognize something. We live in a world where we want everybody to feel good, so we lie to them.
Yeah.
We don't tell them the truth. This is the truth. Now that I know the truth, now we can think about what? Strategy. Yes? Because you need an accurate assessment of reality in order to produce a good outcome.
Because we know the environment.
Right. I know the environment. That's exactly right. He's listening. So now that we're clear on the environment, now we have to ask ourselves a question. How many people in this room want to increase their business? Yes or yes?
Yes.
Good. Hey, you guys are getting the energy thing. This is good. Well, there's only 4 ways to do it. And I don't care what guru you go to. You go to Alex Hormozi, you go to Tony Robbins, they all talk about the same 4. Because there's only 4. 1 is increase leads. 2 is to increase conversion. So the leads that you're getting, you get better at what you're saying to convert them better. 3 is ascension. So you sell them a single family residential home and then you sell them like a second home or like a portfolio. You ascend them into higher stuff. 4 is retention. You keep them for longer. The one we're going to focus on today is leads because most of you guys have a leads problem. You don't want to admit it, but I see you crowding rooms about AI and how can I get leads and funnels? And, yeah? That's the actual problem, is a lead problem. And we're looking at all the shiny pennies to try to find a magical source of leads. Yeah? So, why probate? Well, imagine there was a lead source that had a high density of motivated, qualified sellers. I don't know if you guys know this. We live in a world where we can make data-driven decisions. Do you know that most of the gurus in our space, most of the real estate coaches, some of which have never sold real estate before, what they will tell you is the 4 horsemen. Expireds, canceled, for sale by owners, just listed, just sold, and all they do is recycle them depending on the flavor of the month. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah, she knows. Yeah, I know. That's all they do. Well, what if you're going to stack time on top of a lead source, wouldn't it make logical, practical sense for you to stack time on a lead source that has a higher density of motivated, qualified sellers? Because that increases the chances that you'll bump into one. Yes or yes?
Yes.
So probate is that. It's also market resistant. It is independent of interest rates, independent of market cycles, independent of administrations. I don't care if you're red or blue. What are the 2 things that are going to happen no matter what? Death and taxes. Yes? So it's independent of market conditions. The other thing that I love about this, 65% of these homes, guys, are free and clear, which means we have high levels of motivation and what? High levels of equity. Every real estate agent's favorite things to hear. Yes?
Yes.
And it's an enormous demographic. We have this huge silver tsunami, okay? The second largest group of Americans in the United States behind millennials is baby boomers. Any boomers in the room? Love you guys. Well, their average age is 70. They're 21% of the US population, 62% of them own a home. What'd you say? 62% own a home. So let me ask all my smart, intelligent, beautiful brothers and sisters at EXP, what is the probability, knowing that demographic, where they're 21% of the population, 62% own a home, they're the second largest group in the United States, that probate is going to be a fantastic dynamic lead source for the next 10, 15 years? Yes or yes?
Yes.
You see how we can logically think together? Instead of like, you can do it. Hey, believe in yourself, find your magic. What the hell is that? Probate can legitimately become a 2 to 3 listing thing a month for you within 90 to 120 days. It became 50% of my business. So do you remember when I had that Superman picture? and I was doing condo conversions, and I had to find a guide to tell me where the opportunities were. Well, what he told me was expireds. But here's the thing. That was good guidance then. Why? Historically, we had the most expireds on record. Never had more since. We had 300 a day. I couldn't even call them all. I would set 3 appointments a day, cancel 2, take 1. I did 100 deals one year and 75 were expireds. Why? It's what was given in that market. Does that make sense? But then 2011-12 happened and the market got better. What happens to expireds when the market gets better? They go away. Now, I would love to tell you that I had a very adult, mature way of handling that. That I was like, oh, you know what? This is changing. Maybe I need to pivot. That is not what happened. I had an adult temper tantrum. I banged my head against the wall for 90 days. And I realized there's not enough leads for me to do what I want. I pivoted over to probate, sought a guide, pivoted over to probate. I went from 100 transactions a year to 200 transactions a year on the back of that lead source. Now that we're clear on the environment, we're clear on why probate is a thing, now we got to overcome some of these internal beliefs that get in the way of reaching out to this lead source. So some smiling, yeah? So who wants to tell me some of your internal beliefs as to why you would not reach out to these people? And be honest, because we're brothers and sisters here. I'm sorry? Sensitive time. Good, what else?
Uncomfortable conversation.
Uncomfortable conversations. I don't know if you know this, one of the second biggest fears behind public speaking is confrontation. Most people will go out of their way completely, you all have family members, we all know this, go out of their way completely to confront people. And it causes a lot of strife. What else? Poaching, how dare you? You're such a dirty boy, how are you doing that? Poaching those people. I'm sorry? It's hard, I gotta get through. These are great. So this is, you know what's cool about this? This is the exact things that I came up with. So, it's in poor taste. How dare you? It's a sensitive thing. Here's my actual experience though, okay? Is that, how many people in this room have ever dealt with a probate for a family member where there was real property? Yeah, how hard was that? Incredibly difficult. You have the real property, which sometimes you still have some of those siblings that don't want to leave, still living there. Yes? You have the tangible personal property, which is all the contents, which has sentimental value. Plus you got all your siblings like this. Give me the money, please. And they don't want to help you. Do you know how many sellers I've spoken to, legitimately verbatim with no hyperbole, said to me, hey, you know what? I went to bed last night. I didn't know what I was going to do, and you called me.
Wow.
Now imagine, with that belief, am I going to be hesitant to pick up the phone? No. Because I see myself as the white hat. Do you know who knows about this lead source and beats it up? Investors. And I love investors if you're in the room. Love you. Their intention is to buy at a very steep discount with the goal and objective of making a profit themselves. You know they'd rather deal with you. They trust you more. So who's actually at fault if somebody does that? You, because you wouldn't pick up the phone because that belief got in the way. Yes? Yeah. Hey, you notice the energy in the room? We don't like truth. Listen to me. The truth will set you free, but at first it'll piss you off.
Amen.
Okay? Second one, it's too sensitive. It's way too sensitive for me, okay? Now, are you gonna have to learn, like, what I would call tactical empathy? Yes, because it is a tough situation. At the same time, do you know how much value you add by helping people to navigate that? Because they're not talking to their brother and sister, and you can help put that together. You're adding tremendous amounts of value to these people in their lives. And in the process, you can make money. Does that make sense? You could do good by doing good. Okay? And then the last one is, which I heard over here, it's too complicated. There's attorneys involved and all that other stuff. Well, I don't buy that. You know why I don't buy that? Everybody in this room learned how to walk. Everybody in this room learned how to talk. Sometimes multiple languages. Everybody in this room learned how to drive. Yeah? Most of us in this room, if you're my age, I'm 45, you learned how to use technology. I used to make fun of people who did like media. Now I'm the guy who teaches media. You can all learn things. And this process is not that complicated to learn. You just need to understand the legal component in your geographic area. And then you can combine that with the real property knowledge, and now you can add a lot of value. Does that make sense? Because anybody who has a real estate license can help these people sell their home, yeah? Yes. But the one who ends up actually getting the business is the one who solves the most problems for them. Okay, and we'll get to that in a minute. So, now that we've overcome some of these internal beliefs, now we get to the nitty-gritty, the tactics. Who's up for tactics? Yes or yes? Yes. Good. So we've gotten through the internal stuff. Now let's get to the nitty-gritty. How do you actually do this? Well, you need what I would call gun and bullets. The gun is information for the probate, meaning the person representative, the executor, the beneficiaries, the real property, if there was any, which we want there to be real property, okay? And then you need phone numbers. Now there's two ways to get data. The first way is you go to the courthouse. The second way is you use a third-party provider. Now, I'm going to go through both of them, and I'm going to give you pros and cons of each. So by going to the courthouse, the con is you have to physically go. At first, I went like 6 times, and then I taught my mother-in-law how to do it, and I paid her to do it. She needs some extra cash, bro. She needs something to do, right? But you have to figure it out, because then you're at the whim of somebody else, yeah? Now, that's the con, but there's 3 different pros. The first pro is you are in control. If you're taking notes, write this down. Whoever controls the lead controls how much it costs. You should burn that into your brain. Whoever controls the lead controls how much it costs. You know who's realizing that right now? People who are in bed with Zillow. Can I get an amen, yeah? So whoever controls the lead, and I want to be in control. Second is frequency. I want to get this data as fast as possible because, again, who knows about it are investors. And they beat it up with mailings. They don't really call that much. But you know how many listings I've gone on where they'd be like, hey, Aaron, I want to show you something. After they sign a listing agreement, they would dump out a garbage bag of mailings with perfume and pictures of their grandparents and all these other things that people are doing on these mailers to try to earn business. Okay? So I want to get it frequently because if I get it, let's say once a month, they've already been beaten up by investors. That's like getting old expireds. Make sense? Okay. And then the third thing is, in terms of like these lead sources, the data is complete. So I want not only the personal representative or the executor, the person who's in charge, I want the real property, but I also want the beneficiaries. People that are involved in the estate. Why? Do you know how many homes I've listed because I couldn't get a hold of the personal representative or the executor, but I got a hold of the beneficiary, their brother or sister. They gave me contact information and then we listed the property. Make sense? Now, the second way to get the data is through third-party vendors. I'll give you a few of them if you want to write them down. One is all the leads and another one is US probate leads. There's others out there. Those are 2 that I'm familiar with. Now, the pro to that data is that you just pay and they send it to you in a CVS file and you can load it up and call, okay? It's easy. 3 cons. 1, you're not in control. Whoever controls the lead controls how much it costs. Expect them to raise the price for that data over time. Yes? Yes. 2, frequency. A lot of them only send it to you once a month. I want to get it every single week. When I was doing this in high volume, doing 60 of these transactions a year, we had 3 different people at 3 different courthouses gathering data. Okay? And then the third one is that oftentimes, again, the data is not complete. So they might give you the personal representative or the executor, but they don't give you the beneficiaries. And again, I want all of it. Make sense?
Yes.
I'm sorry, energy. Make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Where do you go in the courthouse? Like you go there?
Yeah, you go physically, and there's a probate division. It's there in every courthouse. And then I would go with a cup of coffee and go speak to the clerks and ask them. The only way that this information is not public is if the person has all of their assets in a revocable or irrevocable living trust. And 95% of the US population does not. People think because they have a will, they avoid probate. That's not true. Now, some courthouses across the country, so here's the thing. This is not a uniform process. Generally, it's the same, but like when you zoom down in your geographic area, they might do a little different. So some courthouses I've seen will allow you to pay to get access. Other ones you have to physically go. So you have to be like willing to put in the time to figure it out. And I'm glad that it's difficult because if everybody could do it and there wasn't a barrier to entry, everybody would do it and the pay would drop dramatically. Yeah. Yes?
Yes.
Initial pleadings. Yeah. Yeah, for your county, initial pleading. I would. So what I did is I physically went, which was a pain, for like 5-6 times. But then I taught my in-law how to do it. And what I would propose for you guys to do is go and then like document what you're doing. So you could create Zoom, like Loom videos, like an SOP, and then, find somebody in your life that needs a little bit extra cash just to go.
Yep. How much?
$2 a lead. And what they would do is they would take that information and then we would use Forewarn to get contact information. Now the thing with Forewarn is they don't do batch. You have to do one at a time. So what she would do, she would go, grab the data, go back home. Then she would look up the information, put all of the data into, let's say, Follow Up Boss, because that was the platform that we used, even though they just changed a rule recently that you guys should know about. I just did a post about it. So, and then I would be able to call and text and email from there.
In North Carolina, or maybe everywhere, so when the home does have a loan attached, you're supposed to put notice in the newspaper.
Yeah.
Have you tracked any probate listings from?
Yeah, I think that's okay. I think either one's fine. Like what you have to figure out in that geographic area is which comes first. I'm imagining, with a high degree of probability, the initial pleading comes first. Then it's posted. It's like a notice to creditors, essentially. Yeah, and the initial pleading in Florida anyway, the initial pleading comes before the notice to creditors. So if you get the initial pleading, you'll get the contact information, and then you can go directly to the consumer. Now we get to like what to say and how to say it. Yeah? So time doesn't permit for me to go through the whole thing with you, but I'm going to give you the opener because always people ask me like, how do I engage this conversation? And here's what you definitely don't want to do. Everybody look at me. You definitely don't want to do this. I heard Grandpa Jim died. You want to sell the house? Don't do that. Okay? You'll be surprised. Some of the people I taught this to, they're like, man, I'm not setting any appointments. I'm like, well, that's why, okay? If I was reaching out and calling, I say, hi, my name is Aaron. I was looking to speak to Susie with regards to the Wilson estate, right? And they say, yeah, this is Susie. Great, Susie. Well, as I mentioned, my name is Aaron. I'm a local real estate agent here in blank, wherever the property is, and I specialize in probate and estate sales of real property. I was reaching out to you this morning because my head researcher pointed out to me that very shortly, if not already, you will be appointed the personal representative in the, forgive my pronunciation, blank estate. And I realize I do sincerely that I may be a little premature in some way. I was calling very respectfully, of course, with regards to the real property on 1265 Plum Street, simply just to find out if you and the rest of your siblings, Tom and Susie and Jim, if you guys had decided at some point you wanted to put that home on the market and to get it sold. Done.
Nice.
Okay? Now, let's break down what's happening. How many people besides me ever had somebody call them and you couldn't figure out why they were calling and you hang up? Yeah. So if I call and say, hey, I'm looking to speak to Susie with regards to the blank estate, immediately you're like, what? I need to talk to this person because this is top of mind. I'm thinking about it, right? Okay. Then, yes, it's Susie. Great, Susie. My name is Aaron. I'm a local real estate agent here in blank. I'm letting you know who I am right away. And I was reaching out, very respectfully, of course, with regards to the blank estate. Do you see what's happening? I'm also deploying tactical empathy. I'm letting you know that I recognize that this is sensitive. I realize that I may be a little premature. I was calling very respectfully. You hear what happens to my tone? Mm-hmm. Yeah? That's on purpose. It's tactical empathy. Now, I mean it, okay? I do. I was calling very respectfully, of course, with regards to the real property on 1265 Plum Street. So now you know why I'm calling. Simply just to find out if ultimately, at some point, because I recognize, are they going to be ready to do something right now? No. Oftentimes not. Some of them are, but oftentimes not. At some point, you and your siblings, Susie, Tom, and Jim, why am I bringing up Susie, Tom, and Jim? Personal. In your mind, what do you think? He knows these people, and he's super familiar with the situation. And what does that do to their probability that they're going to speak to me? Dramatically. Yes. Simply just to find out if ultimately at some point yourself and your siblings, Susie, Tom, and Jim, this is why I want all the data, yeah? If the goal and objective at some point was to get that home on the market and get it sold, quiet. They're either going to say one of three things, yes, no, or we don't know yet. Now from there, the conversation splinters, and we could take it from there. Time doesn't permit for me to go through all of it, but that's the opener, okay? That's how you initiate this conversation. What's up?
We don't need lunch.
Yeah, okay. That's good. Hey, are we having a good time?
Yes.
All right, we're having a good time. Good. So now, the thing I want you to be clear on is anybody can help them to sell the house. Anybody. Anybody who has a real estate license can help them sell. Whoever adds more problems wins. Write that down. Whoever adds more problems wins. For all of my brothers and sisters who have gone through probate with family members, what type of problems arise? Go ahead. My brother said, everything. What? Like what?
They got tons of crap. You got.
Our loved ones have tons of crap. Hey, you ever notice that my stuff is stuff and your stuff is crap? All the stuff that like everybody like they loved and curated, like family comes in, they're like, bro, this is garbage. Let's just throw this away. The Yadros and all the stuff that like make no sense now, right? So they got all this tangible personal property. What else? Disrepair. They need perhaps some handyman work to get it up to current standards so they can sell at a price that's meaningful. What else? Disagreements among siblings about who's going to do what. Everybody's got that one that still lives with mom, even though they're capable of not, right? How do you navigate that? Shipping stuff back to family members who can't come. Yes? So what we would do, and the way I would pitch this to people, is I actually had a project manager on my team. And what I would say to people is like, hey, I don't know if this is helpful or useful in some way. Okay? I have a project manager on my team. Her name is Melissa. She's my personal assistant, which potentially makes her your personal assistant. It's okay. You want to include her in the conversation? Which potentially makes her your personal assistant. And what she would do is she would be your liaison for any of the ancillary services that we may need to engage. Can I explain to you what I mean? Sure. Well, let's say we decide to do an estate sale, right? Because the estate gets a write-off for that. She will have the estate sale people come in, give us a quote. Nothing happens until you say okay. Once you say okay, we'll let them in, do the work. We connect you for payment. Now, let's say we decide to do some handyman work. We will have vendors come in, we'll get quotes. so on and so forth. If you need stuff shipped back to family members, we have a company, a lady that owns a UPS store. She'll meet you at the property, box it up, and ship it. We actually had someone on a probate we did in Wellington, a little bit north of here, where the guy passed away. His sister was the person. She lived in like Ohio. And he had a 3-car garage with 2 collectible cars and entire like memorabilia. And the rest of the house was like a mess. We had a vendor come in, clear out the whole garage, put on a truck, and take it back to her to Ohio. Bro, you see why she listed with me at 6%? Even though all commissions are negotiable? Here's the cool part. They would ask me, hey, is there an additional fee for this? I would say no. You know, what I'm aware of is you have a lot on your plate. My intention here is to add value and to take as much off of your shoulders as put onto ours and make it as smooth and easy as possible. So every time, who would win the listing? Me. And all I'm really doing, if you think about it, my project manager is just like a assistant. We're just like getting people in.
It's all the stuff we do anyway.
It's all the stuff we do anyway. But you see how I pitch it. She's my personal assistant, which potentially makes her your personal assistant. Now let me ask, anybody who's gone through a probate, if you had a personal assistant helping you with all that stuff, would that be helpful? When you're a complete 5 states away, you have your own family, your own kids, your own stuff, yes?
Yeah.
People be like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Do you see? Whoever adds more value wins. Now, I've taught this to people all across the country. Heath is one of the guys I taught it to. Last year he did 20 transactions, all probate. He was a part-time agent, full-time cop. That's right, you heard what I said. Part-time agent, full-time cop, did 20 transactions as probates. Okay, Mark Ramey, he's one of the top agents in Orlando, regularly does 70 to 80 deals a year. 50% of his business is now probate after I taught it to him. Okay, Ilya, he was in that category of agents 1 foot out of the business. He literally called me and said, hey bro, I'm gonna have to get a job. Okay, put him on a probates, took 2 listings in a day. Now probate is something that he does on a regular basis. And he just bought a new car, which he probably should have done, but he did it. Because he's making money, okay? Because I know we do that as agents. Aisha was 1 foot out of the business, okay? I have a probate course that we provide to kind of the open public. She didn't even have the money for it. She put it on a credit card. She did in 30 days, she took a listing. She made $30,000 from that 1 probate listing. And now she does it on a regular basis. It's a pillar in her business. Robert was the guy in that second category. He was doing 20 deals a year. Marketplace flipped. He cut in half. He literally told me on a call, I'm going to have to start driving Uber. Legit. He got out of probates. He's taken 11 listings. He told me he would have been out of the business if he didn't learn this lead source. Chris is the same way. He's been in the business 20 years, bro. 20 years. Doing good business. 25, 30 deals. Marketplace shifted. All the reasons we described. He was doing half that. It was an issue. Now he's taking 1 to 2 listings a month. And they're probate. Dan the same way. Dan, when I met him, he was making $30,000 a year living on his parents' couch. In his 30s. So when you're 15, that's cool. When you're in your 30s, it's not. Now he makes over $350,000 a year regularly. He takes 1 to 2 probate listings a month after I taught it to him. Okay? And they all started exactly where you are right now. The biggest difference is they have a complete system. And they're not smarter than you. I promise. I know these people. I love them, but they're not smarter than you. They're not more experienced, and they're definitely not in better markets. I can already hear you guys in your mind, oh, this wouldn't work in my market. Yeah? They're not in better markets, and they're in markets all across the country. But here's the problem. What happens with free training?
You never log in.
You never log in, bro. 3% of people ever do anything. So I'm a little bit entertaining. I can hold your guys' attention. You'll walk out, you'll be like, that was cool. And then you'll promptly do nothing. And I don't want you to do that because this is like a serious conversation. Do you realize how many agents have gotten out of the business in the last 12 months? Independent of silly posts on Instagram, #thriving. This is legit, bro. It's like a problem. And you guys need tactical information. To me, telling you can do it is like sending you into battle with like a rubber bullets. It makes no sense. Okay? Here's what most people do. They take notes, they feel motivated, they do nothing, and they make the same income next year. That's what most people do. Okay? So, you're not struggling because you're bad. You're struggling because you don't have the right tools, guys. Do you know the tools that we're using? Cold calling scripts from 1995. Is that true? Yes, it is 100% true. We're buying leads on Zillow and hoping and wishing and praying that it works out. Yeah? We're door knocking in 2025 and we're hoping and praying. There's nothing wrong with praying, but here's what I need you to understand. Hope is a beautiful word, but it's a terrible business strategy. It's a weight loss program, meaning you won't eat.
It took a minute.
It took a minute. You felt that? It took a minute to like wave through, right? So what if you had a proven lead gen system and methods, high converting scripts, weekly coaching calls, and actual systems and strategies that convert? If you had everything legitimately, could you fail? No. I'm sorry, could you?
No way.
No, because I know my brothers and sisters at EXP are smart, intelligent, enthusiastic. You just need the right information, you need the right lead source, and you need to learn what to do to convert on that lead source. And you couldn't fail. So we have two roads that we can go down today. The first is path A. Path A is you try to figure this out on your own. Yeah?
Good luck.
That's right. Good luck with that. What you'll do is you'll maybe go to YouTube University, watch a couple YouTube videos, try to figure it out, mess around with it, test out different scripts, and then maybe you'll do a deal in 12 months. You know what actually ends up happening? After 3 or 4 months of doing this, you'll give up. You know what you'll say to me? This doesn't work. Not for me. You're a special widow boy. I'm not. Which is just not true. There was a guy in a group coaching call that I do. 6 months it took him to take one of these listings. Bro, he whined and moaned and complained the whole time. He hopped on a call and in front of 50 people, I'm like, bro, you're being a complete baby. Stop. Hard work is a new thing for you. You've never actually had to work before. You were in an environment where you could show up in flip-flops, not say anything stupid, and make $115,000. That does not exist anymore. He stuck with it. He had 5 closings last month, and all of them were probate. He made $60,000 in a month. He's never done that before in his life. You have to stick with it, yeah? But you need accountability, you need a system to do that. And if you try to do it on your own, what will you need? You have to build workflows, trial and error, start from scratch, high cost of mistakes, and uncertain results. Or the second option is we do this together, okay? So you can use my scripts, my methods, right? My system. You can start booking appointments, start helping families doing good by doing good and getting paid. And that's why I've created something that changes everything, okay? Because if I could give you everything, every template, every script, every system, again, you'd be virtually guaranteed to succeed. And if such an option existed, I know you want to hear about it. So here's what we've created for you, because for 10 plus years, agents have been asking me to create something to give them access. Everybody knows I'm listing all these properties and I'm doing it through probate and they want to have access to it. So that's why we've created the Probate Masterclass. Now, the people at Elevate Coaching came to me and they said, hey, we understand what's happening in the environment that we're in right now. Agents need a predictable, duplicatable lead source that they can go into the marketplace because we're seeing what's happening. Yes?
Yes.
And they said, hey, we know you have a probate course and we know that it's really good and it's very successful. Is there a way that we could collaborate? Because we're all about collaboration, yes? And could you offer something to your beautiful, amazing, fantastic brothers and sisters EXP that you don't offer to anybody else? And I said, sure, why not? So here's what we did. We're going to give you the complete library of every training program, every script template that my 7-figure team used to do 50 to 60 probates every single year for 5-6 years in a row. But this is what makes it different, because most programs just give you information and wish you good luck. Yeah? How many people participate in those programs? Yeah? You pay a bunch of money, they give you information like, good luck, you can do it. So I wanted, when they came to me like, hey, how can we do something that you normally don't do? Because when people participate in my probate course, normally, it's just on demand. They never speak to me. They get access to it and it's learn on their own pace. So we're going to do something that's different in conjunction with Elevate Coaching. We're going to provide you with training, tools, coaching, and accountability. Okay? So let me show you exactly what's inside. You get a step-by-step course on demand to show you how to get the probate data. Screenshots, screen records. What are you looking for at the courthouse? Yeah? I'm going to show you how to get the contact information, how to load that into your CRM, how to create those ancillary services so you can set yourself apart from other agents. The rest of that conversation, because there are objections that happen. Yes? Yes. And, you know, people aren't always going to be like, yes, come over today and list my house. Right? So how to have that conversation with people in a meaningful way. And then you also get, and this is the thing that I've never done before, is you guys get office hours with me. Because most of the time when people participate in this course, we do webinars. I'll sell 10 of these in 60 minutes. And they never speak to me. So if somebody chooses to participate in what we're doing with Elevate, you will get access to my office hours. So you can jump on the office hours once a week, ask me any questions you want, so I can hold your hand and help you to implement this into your business and turn this into a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 listing a month thing for you. So with that, we have some time for some questions, comments, concerns, observations, hallucinations. What questions do you have for me about probate? Yes?
You mentioned going to the courthouse to get the filings. What's the difference between that and going on the property appraiser, or not on the clerk of court website and looking up the case?
Yeah, so you have to, again, find out if the clerk of court website provides you with access to the data that you want.
Okay.
You want those initial pleadings.
Because on mine, it'll show the attorneys, it'll show a petitioner, the personal representative, and the decedent, and then, of course, it's a matter of seeing if they own property and then where to find it.
Yeah, so you could do it that way and then cross-reference with the county records to see if that real property is actual something that they owned. And then you would have to take that data and somehow get it into a CRM so you can make calls. Yes?
I have a listing right now that is probate. Just came through to my sphere, but like I kind of sat there like a deer in the headlights because I didn't know what to do or how to guide them except for connect them to my real estate attorney.
Yeah.
Which I did. Then I didn't know what else to do. I already do those other things like cleaning, painting,
Yeah.
man, blah, blah, blah. So do you go, in this course, do you go kind of deeper diver into like how to guide them through the rest of the process?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so how to guide them through from start to finish, how to have those conversations with them. Because really what they're looking for, and again, any attorneys in the room, I love you. Most of them never spend the time to actually talk to people. They work like contractors, they slap a lot of stuff on the wall and hope it sticks. So instead, nobody's actually walking them through. So if you can guide them through this process, you can let them know, hey, after this initial pleading, here's what's gonna happen. Hey, just so you know, in a homesteaded property is actually shielded from creditors. So you could proceed with putting it on the market whenever you want. A homesteaded property, at least in the state of Florida anyway, if it's passing to linear heirs and there's no fighting or disagreement, you could put it on the market now. They don't know that. And the attorney didn't tell them that often, right? So by understanding that, you can add value and that'll set you apart.
And that right there, what you were just, the
Yeah.
comments that you just said, that's a part of this course too. You're gonna say some of that.
Oh yeah, so I walk you through the entire conversation, right, from start to finish. So I gave you the opener today, but it fractures from there because it can go a couple different directions. I also share with you how to create urgency. Because oftentimes people don't recognize, you know what they'll say to you? I need to wait till the probate's complete. And if you wait, you know what happens? An investor calls them, somebody, and then they list with somebody else. So I walk you through specifically how to create urgency with what I call like a pre-marketing program, which was like, hey, I don't know if you're open to this. And I don't know if you're aware. My intention in sharing this with you is not to create urgency, it's just to let you know that it's an option. That it looks as though this property was a primary residence for your family member at the time of passing. Is that correct? Yes. So that means it was a homesteaded property, right? And then it also seems as though, based on my conversation with you, there doesn't seem to be any fighting or disagreement amongst beneficiaries. You guys are all in agreement in terms of selling? Yes. So nobody's challenging you being personal representative, correct? No. So it's not a question of if you're going to become the personal representative, it's just when. Yes. Okay, so what we can do, if you're open to it, is we can proceed, we can authorize a listing agreement. In the additional terms and conditions, it'll say that this agreement is subject to Susie Smith becoming personal representative in the blank estate. We can proceed with putting it on the market for sale. Because putting it on the market and selling it are two different things. We could put it on the market for sale. We get an offer. In this marketplace, it usually takes 45 to 60 days to get an offer, another 30, 45 days to close. And we put language in the purchase and sales agreement that this sale is subject to X County Probate Court approval. And in doing so, we save a lot of time, and time equals money. So instead of waiting 4 months for the probate to be complete, then put on the market, that's 8 or 9 months of carrying cost. Instead, we can have an offer in place and we can close in 90 days and therefore save your family thousands of dollars in carrying cost. Is that something you'd be open to? They're like, yeah, that's awesome. So it's just walking you through how to have that conversation with people.
The point where we sign the listing agreement with the executor, how much time is the process before they become the executor? Because we can't do a listing agreement until the court assigns.
Well, you can if you, what market are you in?
Texas.
Yeah, so I could be wrong.
Okay.
You'd have to figure that out, but I think with a high degree of probability you can. You just have to have language in there that states that it's subject to. Subject to X County Probate Court approval, subject to John Smith being personal representative. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you have that in place. And the reason, it was not uncommon for me when I was doing this in high volume. I'd have 10 listings waiting to come on the market. I call it winter wheat, like they're just waiting. And by the way, the reason why you want to lock it up is because somebody else will call them. Their neighbor will be like, I want to buy it. Yeah? So we're locked up. Ladies first, and then gentlemen.
Okay. Would your course be like state specific or like?
Yeah, so what the course does is it gives you a very clear overview of probate, right? It'll give you very clearly, specifically what to say and how to say it, which will help with conversion. Because that's a really important part. It'll also show you where to get the data and how to get it. There are some nuances, because remember how I shared with you geographically, like in terms of courthouses and data, there's differences. That's something that you will have to figure out. Good question. Yes?
You box up their stuff, ship it to them.
Yeah.
You say you cover that cost. Do you put that on the back end?
No, here's what's cool is we don't cover the cost. We just connect them with the vendor. So we had a lady who owned the UPS store who would meet them at the property. Because usually what happens is, like kind of order of operations, they come down to get anything that has sentimental value. And then after that, they're like, I don't care. So when they would come down, they have we have to get out in a minute. Okay. So when they have sentimental value, they would come down and we would just have the person meet them there. And it just saves a lot of time. And then before we go, everybody stand up. I want to end our time together again with the high energy equals high income, okay? And I know we spent some time together. I really appreciate you guys doing so. We're going to end our time the way I end all of my meetings, which is with 2 claps and a Ric Flair. If you don't know who Ric Flair is, I feel bad for you. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to say, give me 2 claps and Ric Flair, and everybody's going to go, and then, woo, like let it all out. And I want you to let it out as though the incoming people are like, what in the world are they talking about? Everybody up for this?
Yes.
Everybody up for this?
Yes.
All right. Give me 2 claps and Ric Flair. Woo! Let's go have an amazing rest of the day on purpose.
Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah. Pleasure.
Appreciate it, sir.
What if I told you one of the most important activities that you can do as a leader are meetings? Notice nobody said that. Like when I say the word meetings, what pops up initially? Just go ahead and say it out loud.
White room, waste of time.
Boring. Boring.
Just put it in my email.
Hey, you know what's fascinating? And this is one of the most important activities of a leader. Yeah. And all you guys are saying to me, I want to be leaders. And what's popping up is it's a waste of time and it's boring and I could be doing something else.